we've got a question on that, which is, so we'll just stick with you for this one as well, Barney, which is from a Mr. Thompson, which is, can you have too much diversification in a portfolio? So I think what he's getting at is, if you're too diversified, do you end up kind of watering one down against the other?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Again, if you Google diversification, you get a fairly glib comment from Warren Buffett saying that diversification is a defense against ignorance. It's what you do if you don't know what's going to happen. And you know, we don't know what's going to happen, and freely admit that. And actually, nor does Warren Buffett, which is why he's recently been selling financials, which have already gone down, and buying gold miners, which have already gone up. So the I know where the question is coming from. Diversification does reduce gains in the same way that it reduces losses, but I think sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. You know, we can't, you know, we don't know what's around the corner, and you can analyze and look at companies and markets as closely as you want, but nobody saw COVID coming. Yeah. Warren Buffett didn't see COVID coming. Nobody did. And if you plot a particular course of what you think around what you think is going to happen, and something like COVID comes along, it can massively, you know, derail you. If you look at where, you know, the markets were at a high point at the end of February, if you look at where to potential balanced portfolio is now, I think we're about 3-4% off that high point. The FTSE is still 16% below that point. Now, if we'd had it all in Far East markets or gilts, we'd be up 4%. If we'd had everything in gold, we'd be up 20%. The fact is, you don't know what's going to happen. Can you have too much diversification? I don't know. Again, you know, books have been written about this. There's probably a fellow in Harvard who says that yes, you can. There's probably a chap in Yale preparing a thesis on why you can't have too much diversification. What we do know is that diversification increases returns, it reduces risk without maximizing either, and that's what we're after, producing good long-term gains in a smooth fashion over a long period of time.
Yeah, and I think the results tend to speak for themselves as well, and I think you can see how well the portfolios have performed since inception, and even indeed if you even look at just this year as a kind of 8.5-month period, they're up as well, which I think is down to diversification. I think, as you're saying, Barney, nobody could predict what was happening with COVID, and I think it could be a deadly game if you try and then stock pick your way out of it. Yes, there'll always be stories of people who picked one or two kind of winners, but there's plenty of stories behind the scenes of people who've picked some of the kind of the losers, and that's something we spoke about a wee bit last week during our Psychology of Successful Investors podcast. Is you know, for every success story you hear about, there's plenty behind the scenes where people really have kind of egg on the face, so to speak.